欢迎各位来到大会论坛一跨文化交流。
Welcome to Plenary I, a new era of cross-cultural communication and the role of audio-visual media into this world. How can we tackle misunderstanding and misperceptions in this globalized world? We are now in a new era of cross-cultural communication. In this world and era of diversity, how can we carry forward cross-cultural communication? How can we leverage the role of audiovisual media? First of all, I give the floor to Ms. Yan, Deputy Director General of the International Cooperation Department of the Chinese National Radio and Television Administration.
Distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, ladies and
女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家早上好！我非常荣幸能够受邀
GYLD 2023 annual event, and we are very happy to see that Plenary I, we are going to focus on how to better unlock the potentials of young talent and to better facilitate the cross-cultural communications and dialogues. Now, please allow me to deliver my remarks in Chinese. 视听传播是信息交流、文化交流的重要载体。视听领域的每一次变革，也都为跨文化交流带来深刻的影响和改变。当前，移动互联网、5G、人工智能等技术的飞速发展和广泛应用，极大地改变了我们与世界联系的方式。我们已经身处一个视听无处不在、无时不在的时代。视听传播日益呈现出移动化、社交化、智能化的发展趋势。这样一个视听新时代带给跨文化交流的机遇和挑战是什么？这样一个跨文化交流的新纪元，视听媒体应该发挥怎样的建设性的作用？思考这两个问题，我不禁想到狄更斯《双城记》的开篇名言：这是一个最好的时代，这是一个最坏的时代，这是一个信任的时代，这是一个怀疑的时代。一方面，无论人们身处何时何地，都可以更加便捷地通过各种媒介和工具接收到海量的视听信息，视听内容生产的数量、传播、交流、互动的速度、广度与深度都达到了前所未有的程度。另一方面，我们也面临着虚假信息泛滥、数据安全与隐私泄露、数字鸿沟、信息茧房、算法歧视、极端言论等问题和风险，加剧了不同文明文化之间的误解，甚至是对立和冲突。跨文化交流面临不少新的挑战。如何把握机遇、应对挑战，取决于我们的选择和信念，更取决于我们的实际行动。文明因交流而多彩，因互鉴而丰富。文明交流互鉴是推动人类进步和
I should say communications are made diverse through exchange. We need to have a dialogue between civilizations to tackle the challenges faced by human beings. Over the years,
our organization has been actively supporting the China telecommunications and TV and audiovisual industry in being more open, inclusive, in promoting cultural exchanges and increasing international communication and deep international cooperation. The young are the most creative and dynamic group, and actually in China, in the video content creators, 59.4% are actually between 25 to 34 years old. They are good at using the audiovisual language to express innovation and creative ideas, to play a very important role in cultural continuation and innovation and inter-civilization mutual learning. And in many of the competitions between China and ASEAN, between China and Arab countries, or between China and Russia, it has been shown that the young people have really used the audiovisual media to engage in cultural exchanges, which have produced harmony and common development. Since last year, the international department of my organization has supported the International Youth Audiovisual Communication Plan in order to launch a good platform for mutual learning and friendship. And just later, we are going to use a short video to show you the wonderful contents for the program in 2023. We hope that you can give us strong support and you can participate in such activities. Today's forum is focused on the theme of a new era of cross-cultural communication, the role of audiovisual media. So it is highly relevant. We hope that as young leaders, you will use your strength to create more opportunities for sharing wisdom and experience. And we also hope that more of the young people will be engaged in this grand endeavor so that we will have an open mind in understanding the values of different civilizations and respecting the different people's choice of their own development paths, so that we can use cultural exchange to cross cultural gaps and use cultural mutual learning to overcome cultural conflicts. And we can work together to uphold the common values of mankind and promote the building of a community of shared future for mankind. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Yan. I think through his remarks, we now know more about the program of the International Youth Communication. And now I'd like to give the floor to Vice President Yang Yi of the Communication University of China. Madam Yan, dear colleagues, officials, leaders, ladies and gentlemen, young representatives, good morning. I'm very pleased to be here at this forum, and I have heard a lot of innovative ideas today. First, on behalf of the Communication University of China, I'd like to express our congratulations to you on the holding of this forum. And also I want to thank the partner organizations for the long-term support for youth exchanges. Just now, Mr. Yan gave us a very good opening on this topic, how to ensure that the young people will play a better role in the audiovisual media. What can we do? And just recently, President Xi attended the World University Students' Games, and he said that we need to engage in solidarity to address global challenges and deepen mutual learning so that we can build a good community of shared values. I think that is also our mission. That is also a responsibility of all the communication, higher education, or education experts. As Madam Yan said, that today's audiovisual media has gone beyond the traditional communication and media platforms. It has brought new experiences with its diversified context and vehicles. It has changed from a single platform to a comprehensive platform, including experience and social media, etc. And AI, 5G, and higher efficient communication, deep learning, and smart content collection, etc. All these new technologies have become omnipresent. So that means all things are connected for the young people. So the IT science has created a new global information ecosystem, and today's young people are in a new era of emerging technologies. And from the perspective of human history and communication studies, actually technology is not all. To achieve its functions is more important. Actually, we need to put ourselves in the process of history. If you have an open heart, you will see more of the world. So the young people in this new era need to take on a new look to address the new challenges and create a future audiovisual world. That is our responsibility. The Communication University of China is an important part of the international audiovisual project, and we are committed to create cross-cultural talent, communication talents. In 2022 and 2023, we organized a cross-cultural communication forum covering translation and appreciation of literatures, and it covers a lot of countries, and it promoted the industrial exchanges. It is universal, creative, and innovative and inclusive. It creates an online communication platform. History is just like a big sea, and history has been created through communication. We need to be inclusive in cross-cultural understanding, and we need to take a holistic view, and we should also have the humanistic spirit. I think that is the responsibility of all of us. That also represents the future of all of us. Today, we have all the wonderful, excellent talents from different parts of the world, and the young leaders carrying the advantages of their own unique civilizations are gathered to enrich global governance with the new diversified young voices. So communication and mutual learning will become a bond of global exchanges. Here, I'd like to wish all of you a great success in the 2023 GYLD Annual Forum. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice President Yang, for your encouraging remarks. I think a lot of the media friends are actually the students of Mr. Yang. And now I'd like to give the floor to Dean Chen Gang of the School of Journalism and Communication at Peking University. The floor is yours, Mr. Chen. Distinguished guests, dear friends, good morning. I'm here and I can feel the young atmosphere, and I can also feel the strong power of communication. Here on behalf of the School of Journalism and Communication at Peking University, I'd like to express congratulations to you on the hosting of this forum, and also I want to give you my best wishes. This era is full of challenges and changes. Cross-cultural communication is in a new era. What does that mean? That is also the topic of our forum. It's a new era, so it's different from the past. First, it's full of new changes in globalization. In the development of globalization, there are always a lot of uncertainties. There are always a lot of difficulties and challenges. We are also faced with a lot of opportunities. And such changes are different from the past, but I think the main theme is advancing. And for the sake of global peace and development, the young people need to work harder for it. And at the same time, the new era is also reflected in the changes of communication. Technologies are moving human communication to a new era. There are different kinds of terms and concepts that are used to describe this new era. It is just too new, and we have not experienced it in the past. And in this new era, the new technologies are changing human society and advancing human society. So in this new era, communication is accelerating. It has become a core of global social progress. And audiovisual media is unique because it is a form of global language. We do not need the language, and we can just use the audiovisual media to understand each other's culture and lifestyle. And in this kind of communication, we can build consensus and build a common vision of the future world. Audiovisual communication for the new young generation is a new kind of lifestyle and a new kind of culture. It is also an important bridge of communication, more importantly. I think the big topic for today's forum is the dialogue of young leaders. The young leaders are just so critical for future development. We hope that in the future, the young leaders will truly become the backbones for future development. We hope that through today's exchange platform, you will use your young advantages to make more contributions to human progress. And another important part of today's program is the launch of the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication Annual Project. And this project has captured two things. First, international youth. Second, audio-visual communication. It is future-oriented. It is just launched, and we have a lot to expect from it. The School of Journalism and Communication at Peking University is an important platform for international communication studies. And in recent years, we have been focusing on this topic in our studies. And at this school, we always have a very good, rich international atmosphere. For example, among the university students, we have a lot of overseas students. Actually, they account for 40% coming from 22 countries. Such a good international atmosphere has given us the advantage of knowing deeper about the importance of international communication, cross-cultural communication, and the value of audio-visual communication. We hope that we can work together to upgrade the brand influence of this program. And through this program, we will build a good platform for cross-cultural communication and encourage the young leaders in the world to contribute to the inter-civilization exchanges and the building of a community of shared future. Finally, I wish this forum every success, and I also hope that the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication Annual Project will be a complete success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. From his speech, we know more about audiovisual communication and how do international friends look at audio-visual communication. We now switch to our international speakers. First one is David Blair, Senior Economist of the Alliance of Global Talent Organization.
On behalf of the Alliance of Global Talent Organizations, AGTO, I would like to express my sincere congratulations on the successful launch of the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communications, also called IYPAVC. At present, the world is facing unprecedented common challenges, and we need to address these challenges through intercultural communication. Audio-video communication is an important vehicle for international cultural exchanges today, which not only enhances friendship among countries, but also builds global consensus. Young people have enormous energy in promoting innovative development and solving the problems we face today. As a dynamic and creative group, they are the main group in the promotion and application of audio-video communication. As such, they are uniquely capable of promoting intercultural communication. In the face of the changes in the world, young people should use their energy and creativity to meet the world's common challenges and contribute to world peace, prosperity, and cooperation. The Alliance of Global Talent Organizations is an international, non-governmental organization dedicated to building a platform for international talent exchange and cooperation and constructing a mechanism for dialogue, coordination, and cooperation among global talents. As a vibrant international exchange platform, AGTO is very willing to support youth leadership development and actively promote international cultural exchanges and cooperation with the power of youth. I believe that the launch of the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication will build an innovative and inclusive social network for the world's talented young leaders and provide support for promote innovation and development in the field of audio-video communication. Best wishes to you all, and may you have a wonderful conference. Thank you.
Indeed, audio-video communication calls for the collaboration of international organizations. The next speaker is Ahmed Nadim, Secretary General of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union.
Participants of the International Youth Program of Audiovisual Communication. As the Secretary General of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, I am honored to address this remarkable gathering of young minds from across the globe. It gives me immense pleasure to witness the dedication and enthusiasm young creative people have for audio-video communication. This program is an exceptional platform that fosters creativity, innovation, and intercultural exchange, and it plays a crucial role in shaping the future of media and broadcasting in our region and beyond. It is truly a unique and valuable opportunity for young people from all over the world to come together and learn about the latest trends in audiovisual communication. This is a rapidly growing field, and the skills you learn through this program will be in high demand in years to come. In today's interconnected world, where information travels at a very high speed, the role of audio and video communication is more critical than ever. The youth holds the power to bring positive change, break barriers, and to bridge the gaps between cultures and nations. You are the architects of the future, and your ideas and vision will shape the narratives of tomorrow. Through this program, young talents have been given a unique opportunity to express their thoughts, tell their stories, and share their experiences using the powerful medium of audio and video. This is a unique chance to raise their voice, to inspire, and to empower others. It is also an opportunity to build connections with talented young people from around the world. These will be invaluable as you embark on careers in audiovisual communication. Content creators and communicators have the ability to influence society and shape opinions. I encourage young creators to use their talents responsibly, ethically, and with utmost respect, as these values will bring about positive change and foster understanding among diverse communities. The Asia Pacific region, with its rich cultural diversity and heritage, provides an abundance of stories waiting to be told. Creativity and imagination of young talents can give these narratives a global stage, helping the world appreciate and celebrate our shared humanity. I encourage all of you to take advantage of this opportunity. It is a chance to learn from the best, make new friends, and explore your creativity. In conclusion, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication for their dedication in nurturing the talents of our youth. I wish you all a successful and inspiring program. May your creativity soar and may your voices resonate across borders, uniting us all in pursuit of a better tomorrow. The future of audiovisual communication is bright, and I am confident that the young people of this program will play a leading role in shaping it. Thank you again, and best wishes for an engaging and unforgettable experience.
非常感谢各位嘉宾的致辞。我想通过各位嘉宾的分享，大家对于国际青年视听传播计划有了更多的了解，对于该计划新的项目也有了更多的期待。那接下来我们就将通过一段视频发布国际青年视听传播计划年度项目，有请各位来宾共同见证。
青春、活力、希望、融合、探索、创新。国际青年视听传播计划由多家媒体、高校、智库及国际组织共同发起，发挥视听的力量，发现文化交流对话平台，为各国青年提升文素养，支持各国青年为促进文明交流互鉴，推动构建人类命运共同体，贡献青年力量。在这里，与全世界的青年朋友共同开展创意分享。内容合作。语言学互访，每次的交流与突破，都在不断探索视听世界的广度与深度，消融文化的隔阂，
to bridge cultural gaps. The 2023 is the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. We champion the spirit of the Silk Road, the International Youth Program of the Audio Video Communication Annual Project calls for your participation. And we hold salons. We promote youth dialogues. We also have an audio video translation and creation platform. Translation of movies. Cross-disciplinary research on movie translation. We have a touring and shooting tour in China. The audiovisual communication training program, training base to train international talents in audio-video communication. Also have the vloggers training and the Bilibili short video creation using new technologies. The ASEAN-China Forum on audiovisual communication, and the opportunities of the Belt and Road Initiative, the China-Arab audiovisual competition, which is open to all Arab countries. And this builds a bridge for China-Arab friendship. and China-Arab streaming context, which shows the charm of Chinese and Arabic cultures, the China-Africa audio visual presentation. It provides a bridge for China-Africa communication, the Lansang Mekong Twin Cities program. And through the singing and the photography and the painting exhibition, we carry forward the friendship between China and the Mekong River countries.
Keep up with the latest broadcasting technologies.
大家好，我是皮盖庄，这是中华电影沈阳浩浩。我作为来自伊拉克的青年代表，对这个计划表示支持。
The International Youth Programme of Audio-Video Communication will provide a unique opportunity for our young talent to communicate and learn from each other.
祝愿国际经典视听传播计划圆满成功。
Congratulations on the launch of International Youth Programme of Audio-Video Communication.
国际青年视听传播计划将热忱欢迎世界各国视听行业的青年朋友以及视听传媒机构、组织、协会的加入，用视听记录美好生活，用视听创造美好未来。国际青年视听传播计划期待你的加入。
好的，我们看到我们的国际青年视听传播计划。
Thank you. We see that there have been many fruitful results in the past under the program. What changes have taken place with regard to the International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication, and what are the opportunities and what role can the young people play in promoting this program? Now we move on to the panel discussion, and the moderator is Mr. Ji Deqiang, professor and doctoral supervisor at the Communication University of China. And the panelists are Mr. Wahid Ahmadizadeh, Secretary General of the Alumni Talent Alliance, Mr. Ding Xigong, blogger, new media content creator, owner of Student Dean from Agricultural University Channel, and Jennifer Holstein, principal of Pingo Space, new media content creator.
And our panelist, Mr. Mohammed Mazza, Secretary General of the Alumni Talent Alliance.
Ding Xigong, blogger, new media content creator, owner of Students Ding from Agricultural University Channel. Mr. Jennifer Holstein, principal of Pingo Space, new media content creator. Mr. Hong Xiao, producer at Mongo TV Program Center. Mr. Tammy Tayo, business documentary producer and host of the Out-East podcast. Thank you for joining us and looking forward to a fruitful discussion. Now, 有请姬教授和各位研讨嘉宾上台就座。
Okay. I recognize some of you have the interpreter, but some not. So we can start maybe begin with the English language. Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Very glad to be here to be invited as the moderator of this special session about intercultural communication in the age of audio-visual communication. So my name is Ji Deqiang. I'm a professor of international communication at the Communication University of China. As a researcher in this field, I'm very honored to be the moderator of this special session and to witness the launch of this International Youth Program of Audio-Video Communication annual project. So in the world today, actually, we have seen a lot of new forms of intercultural communication, especially through the mobile phone, through the TikTok and other kind of social media platforms. But at the same time, we also recognize there are a lot of misunderstanding barriers between different cultures and how to break through those communication obstacles in the age of communication. Or digital communication became the most important challenge for the global civilizations in the world today. Actually, based on the internet information communication technical revolution and also people's participation in the online communication, the audiovisual communication became the major platform for cross-cultural communication and also cultivating a lot of new models of communication products and different communication actors and multi-dimensional communication networks. So, and the youth generation is the major player. I just came back from Russia, attending an international BRICS camp, and I recognize there are a lot of different, actors from the BRICS country. They really want to join this social media or digital communication and try to break through those communication difficulties. So as the moderator of this special session, I try to keep us on schedule because we are waiting for the launch. First of all, let me invite our participants in this special session to introduce yourself very briefly, okay, within 30 seconds. So after that, we are going to have some conversation and sharing of your experiences. So 我们有请每位参与者
So please introduce yourself in 30 seconds.
Honored to be here. My name is Wahid. In China, mostly people know me by Ma He. I've been living in China for past 10 years. I did my bachelor's and master's in UIB. Then I was lucky enough to start numerous startups. Currently, I have a startup called InHub. What we do is we try to accelerate the flow of information resources across different ecosystems to create more opportunities for the youth. Also, we have a nonprofit called the Alumni Talent Alliance. We basically call it 老外的欧美同学会. So what we are trying to do is bringing more services and more resources to universities, especially to international students communities across different universities, including Beida, Tsinghua, and other one. And this topic is very exciting, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Wahid. 丁习公同学。
大家好，我叫丁。
Good morning, I'm Ding Xigong. I'm from Yunnan Agricultural University. I'm also a new media content creator. I am a student of the Agricultural University, and my creation has been focused on agriculture and rural areas. I hope that through my creation, I will present China to the audience internationally. And I also hope that agriculture will become attractive to the young people.
Introduce the rural China to the international community. Next, let's welcome Jennifer. Yes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Holstein. I am from the US. I've been living here in China for around 6 years over the past 12 years, and I've been learning Chinese for over 20 years. I'm super excited to be here today, and I'm very thankful to GYLD for giving me yet another opportunity to engage in global exchange. I am the Executive Education Director at Pingospace. We focus on connecting local students to international education to increase collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. So I'm really, really excited to be here on this panel today. I think it's an extremely important topic and very relevant to our global landscape. And I'm happy to be here with the fellow panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, 下面有请芒果 TV 节目中心制片人。
Next, Hong Xiao from Mango TV Program Center.
的制作人。
I'm the producer at the Mango TV Program Center, Hong Xiao. I was in the long video creation for 20 years, and I think a lot of the cultural show program was very popular among the young people. And then I am with the Mango TV, and we also have the international version, which has an audience of 150 million. So we hope that we can provide a very important role in helping the international audience to better know the Chinese culture.
Tayo from Nigeria.
Thank you very much. My name is Tayo. I am a filmmaker, director, and cinematographer. I'm also the founder of Deep Montage Productions. It's a production company in Nigeria and Canada. Outside of filmmaking, I also have a podcast that is called Out East Podcast, where I basically talk to talent and professionals from various industries. I'm also an emotional intelligence coach, cross-cultural dialogue advocate, and just a general human being. And I also love kwamenji. That's probably like my favorite Chinese food. So I'm excited to be here and to have this conversation with you all. Thanks.
Thank you. 谢谢塔约. Okay, now.
Thank you very much.
Move to the next. The main body of our discussion today is the question. Actually, since the time limit, we have only one question for each of you, but everybody should introduce your sharing your experiences or insight within 5 minutes. After that, we are going to have some conversations. So my question is, so what is the role played by the audiovisual or audio video communication product in intercultural communication? So what are their major functions or characteristics? And what challenges we are facing today, and how the youth generation can make the best use of audiovisual communication to promote a vibrant intercultural communication in the world today. So could you please share your experiences and your understanding, your knowledge on this topic? So every participant, please share your insight, less than 5 minutes. So I have my little card to remind you if you maybe at 4 minutes, so I will let you know. Okay. Also from Wahid.
Actually, I was having a conversation about this topic with a couple of friends a few days ago. I think the way that we communicate, in a way, it reflects and mimics both our human evolution and at the same time the development of our society. Like if we go back to the Stone Age, the way we used to communicate, that was like 听和说. We speak and we listen. We had a very one-dimensional way of communicating our thoughts, whatever message we wanted to relay on the other person. But then maybe around 10,000 years ago, with development of agricultural society, and we invented papers and we created a new dimension to how we communicate. That was writing and reading. So suddenly we're not doing just one dimension talking, but we have writing and reading, and that actually elevated our status and also, like, you know, accelerated our development as well, because now we can preserve knowledge. We can preserve knowledge in a better way, but still it was not the most effective way. Although it was not the most effective way, it took us almost 10,000 years to figure out a better way to disseminate information, to communicate. And that was probably with the development of digital communication. Now, not only we are able to read and write, but we're able to read and write every message that we get in zeros and ones. And it becomes very easy for us now to disseminate and translate it in different language. So suddenly now we have a new whole dimension on how we communicate and how we exchange information and how we transfer data, all of it. And that kind of like opened a whole new dimension of our understanding of cultural communication. With that being said, this transformation is also extremely fast. Like if we see in 50 years, the digital communication has been rapidly developing from internet early days to now we have Web3, and now we have a spatial audio and videos, and hopefully next year with Apple's glasses, we will have like the AR and VR experiences as well. So suddenly now we're going back to the early days of communication. Is like, it's going back to the saying and listening. So we went through the transformation of saying, listening, then to read and writing, and now going back to saying and listening, because we are able to create these virtual realities and virtual worlds, and we are able to experience it. And it goes back to the concept of a picture worth 1,000 words. And now we have like thousands of pictures in front of our eyes in a single minute. That being said, that means that now we have better tools to communicate. We are able to provide more context to whatever we are talking about. We're able to preserve knowledge in a better way. But it also means that the this transformation is also extremely fast. And when it becomes very fast, it's very hard for our human brains to process what we are getting, what kind of information is being given to us. So that kind of brings a whole new set of responsibilities, both on the side of when we create content, what kind of content we are creating, how we are able to communicate this content in the digital age and able to put it in the right context, how we can responsibly disseminate information. But at the same time, we also, the responsibility goes back to on the listener side, like for the people who are engaging with these comments, the people who are receiving at the receiving side of it, they need to come up with better ways on to process the knowledge that we see through thousands of videos and pictures. With that being said, I think the new age of communication, it's very exciting, but it's a very big responsibility for us to be able to critically think about the information we both disseminate and receive, and also we are able to create context. So what kind of context we are able, we should build to deliver our messages. It's both a blessing, but at the same time, a bigger responsibility. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Wahid. I totally agree with you that this digital communication really provide a quite different opportunity for people to participate, not only to receive. I think this is something really important. It's milestone change for the humanities. So thank you. So next, 下面有请丁同学啊，我们问题是个试题。
Next one, Mr. 丁习公。What is the role of audiovisual media products in the cross-cultural communication? And as a young leader, what can you do to use such products to promote more inclusive communication? I think, I'm a content creator in agriculture. I have been passing on some knowledge of agriculture or creating contents about rural areas in China. And they can, as the foreign audience, they can look at my video contents to understand what I am doing, even though they have known nothing about China. For example, through my content, they probably will recall what they have in their own country, for example, their plants or their agriculture. So I think in this way, I have been working to remove the obstacles in cross-cultural communication. So this is also a learning process for both sides in terms of agriculture. So I think the young leaders, especially agriculture, is really an area where the young people do not want to engage in. Actually, there is a trend of smart agriculture in all countries. So I think we need to present the new picture of agriculture to the global audience. At the same time, we also need to learn from each other and what they are doing in their agricultural development. And we can also use those new media platforms. Probably I do not speak very good English. However, we can use the video to understand more about each other. So it can provide a good platform for us to cross the cross-cultural obstacles. And so what we need to do is to create better contents that are more easy to understand, and then they will appreciate the beauty of agriculture and rural areas. And the young people also need to have more confidence in our own culture and to work more actively to learn from the advanced information of agriculture in different countries. And they should take the initiative in engaging in the cross-cultural communication. So we hope that in the future, more young people will join us in the important endeavor of the cross-cultural communication of intangible heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your sharing. I think you shared 3 points. The first, audio-video communication can overcome language barriers. Second, China's agricultural technologies can be disseminated and promoted through cross-cultural communication. And third, young people should be able to tell China's stories.
Respond to the intercultural communication challenges we are facing today. Actually, audiovisual communication really has the potential to go through, to break through the language barriers. And on the other hand, it also provides opportunity for those online bloggers to introduce the technological, achievements that we have in our agriculture industry. So thank you, 谢谢丁同学. So next, Jennifer, could you please share your experiences or understanding about this topic?
Sure, thank you. And it was very interesting to listen to both of you. Like Wahed said, I think that the development of the audiovisual, the development of the way we communicate has just been so quick in the recent years. We used to just speak to each other and be able to just exchange ideas just through listening and talking, but now we are able to see things through all of these multimedia platforms and scroll through TikTok or Douyin or Facebook or Instagram, and we're being able to communicate in new and different ways in a rate that is unprecedented. But with that growth and with that new ability to communicate, we also face extreme challenges of being further and further apart in communication than we have ever been before. People feel, although we can connect to people from across the world, like America to China, it seems as though our communication is getting less and less strong overall because we're getting lost in so much content. And so that is one of the really big issues that we're facing. And as somebody in the education industry, I also have extreme concerns for the youth of the future and how they're being exposed to the world and what kind of content they're being exposed to. And I think it's extremely important to figure out a way to connect the next global leaders of the world, the next global talents, to the skills that will be able to help them in this industry, but also keep them on the path that will lead them to a productive and educational point of view. So I think the key point for the future talents is that we need to be teaching practical hands-on experience. Like at our school, we let students make their own film, and they get to make their own, they get to direct, they get to edit, they get to come up with the storyline, and that allows them a unique experience to really engage in this really upcoming field from a very young age, whereas other schools might just do history or character writing class. We're really trying to push these extremely important skills. So if one thing I really say as a message for the future talents is that we need to be pushing audio and visual skills such as sound editing, video editing, but also creativity and storytelling, and create content and help young leaders and help everybody create content that really aligns with the values, interests, and preferences of young people while still making it educational. So let's keep that in mind, and moving forward, just focus on really connecting with young people, but also not forgetting that this is a huge educational platform of it's a tool. Like visual learning is such a great tool, and we need to make sure that we're putting it in the right direction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think I really appreciate you bringing us a new perspectives, not only about how to produce the content, but how to educate the young people to make a good, production on these online platforms. Actually, it seems like you are proposing a kind of hybrid model. It's not only technical skills, but also their intercultural competence, whether they are able to communicate different cultural elements in their online audio or video product. So thank you, Jennifer. So next move to our next participant, 洪笑可否有请您就分享一下有关这个
Hong Xiao, can you share with us what role does audiovisual products play, and how do you see the young generation? Thank you. I myself do entertainment programs, so I want to share with you several points or several thoughts. First, in cross-cultural communication, in audio-visual communication, we need to have the best products. We need to ensure the quality of the products. If the products are of poor quality, you won't be able to promote cross-cultural communication using those products. We need to see that our programs, our products must be presentable, must have a high quality. In China, for the skills, for the lighting, recording and directing, I believe China's skills have reached the international standards. You have the skills, but you also need to make sure the contents are well designed to a very high standard. And secondly, in making products, the products have to be interactive. We need to have the topics. The interpreter cannot hear the speaker, and there's something wrong with the technical system.
我觉得这种互动感的话，是给国际传播的话会带来一个好的一个帮助。我们不能光是一个我告诉你我要表达什么，而是我要做到的是你们
听不到，耳机里没有。
怎么想这个节目？你们该怎么样去理解我们所做的这个视听的内容？对，然后把你的意见表达出来。
没声音了，它是没声音，
第二个能够引发舆论的一个内容。然后第三个就是，我觉得，因为全世界的年轻人都有共性，有好奇，有探索精神，还有这种不服输的劲头，所以其实我们的做的视听的作品的话，要符合就是年轻人的一个共性，就是讲述的故事的话，要让他们有共鸣，比方说实现梦想的故事，比方说。挑战自我、认同自我的故事，这些故事可以放在综艺节目当中去讲述出来，这样子才会让其他国家和其他地区的年轻人都会有共鸣，而不是我们的节目在自说自话然后最后一个就是我觉得我们的视听作品的话要有我们自己独特的中国文化的属性作为一个支撑。这个咱们中国的传统文化的话，有它。
The voice is back. The Chinese culture has its own unique charm. It is appealing to international audiences. It can be appreciated by international audiences. Take my experience, for example. A foreigner participated in our singing contest. The person asked me what kind of a name I should have. You may have a name as you like, but as for the family name, you must be very careful because in the Chinese culture, family name in China is very important. It's very important in the Chinese history, in Chinese culture. It represents the history of your family. So through our program, actually, we can kind of communicate the Chinese culture and history to international audiences. Yes, I agree with you that you said the quality is very important, interaction is important, and also the uniqueness of the Chinese culture is very important. We have watched your program, and I am a singer.
Anyway, I'm a singer. It's a very famous and popular online entertainment program on Mongol TV. As Mr. Hong said, we should focus
on the quality and interactivity, the similarity and the uniqueness in intercultural communication on online platforms. So next, let's welcome Ta Yue.
Thank you very much. I think a lot of the guys have already touched on the critical point around the use of video and audio in creating a global environment. For me, I'm particularly interested in this because of my experience as someone who's been into behavioral psychology and things like that. Video and audio, especially now in the time where the internet has made everything accessible, there's no barrier to communication. People do not necessarily have to worry about the language that's been spoken. And that's opened a whole chain of dialogue that people can have. I don't know if a lot of people here are familiar with the story of Lucy Harris. Probably most people don't. But Lucy Harris is the first woman who scored a basket in the Olympics, the first female Olympic competition. And most people don't know her because the story was never told. Now, in this age where we're trying to fight that there's equality across gender, whether you're a man or woman, telling the story of Lucy Harris and so many other women out there will help bring more light to those stories. When I first came to China, I'll use myself as an interesting example. My family is predominantly spread out across Nigeria and Canada. My family's first instinct when I said, "Oh, I'm going to China," was what? And that comes from a place of not knowing what it's like here. They didn't have an avenue to be able to see what the people here felt like, what the food felt like, what the society looks like. And now, so when I came down to China, I thought, you know what, I will try to share this story and just sort of create that bridge where it's not just me telling them, but it's also me trying to tell people in China what these other countries are like. And that has led into some incredible collaborations where during the COVID pandemic, I worked with 5 other filmmakers from the US, the UK, Italy, and France, and we were documenting the effect of COVID on the society. Initially, it was supposed to go on and be filmed in festivals and things like that, but we wanted it to just be true. We weren't looking for a commercial product. We were actually trying to tell a story. So I think video and audio, for me, the core basis of what we should encourage, especially to more young people, is empathy. When you empathize with someone, you try to understand their story, you try to listen to their narrative, you don't try to impose what you think on them. And I feel like that is something that we have to try to encourage more people to do, because yes, we have all these tools at our disposal, but it also creates a very tricky lane because not everybody is responsible. And according to Fernando Ortiz, who's a scholar, he describes something as a global responsibility where we're all aspiring towards the benefit of humankind. And that's what I try to do in all my films. It's always trying to look for the concept behind the story and trying to make the viewer empathize with the film or the protagonist or the antagonist of the story. And we also do that even in commercial films that we make. We try to tell the brand story from the brand's perspective. So yes, we can try, just like Jennifer mentioned something interesting, is trying to teach some skills on the emotional side of things will help you create more meaningful films. You can create beautiful visuals, you can create outstanding imagery, but if the story does not connect to the audience emotionally, you're not really leaving a message, which is why I'm really happy that GYLD is taking this up, where we're able to create more of these emotional stories and just generally tell, a better story that channels that empathy between people. So whether you're from North America or South Africa or the East or Asia or anything, you're able to connect to whatever story is in front of you because you empathize with where that person is coming from. And for me, I feel like that is so critical and comes, with everything around technical training, trying to get people to make things, encouraging young children especially to do these things. Plus, it also just helps them. The more you make videos, the more you stay in front of a camera. I think it breeds self-confidence. A lot of people don't know how their voices sound. So they hear themselves on the screen the first time and go, oh, wait, that's me. But the more you do these things, you create a sense of self-worth, your confidence increases, and overall, you just become a general better human being, in my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Taiyu. I think this is extremely important, for the usage of digital communication, audiovisual content. We are able to fill into the gap between different, people, to understand each other better, but at the same time to build a more close emotional ties, which is one of the key, from our research perspective, the key characteristics for defining social media communication, which is different from the traditional media, as you mentioned before. So thank you, Taiyu. Thank you everyone for sharing your really helpful, information and also insights for understanding about this topic. So now we still have about 20 minutes. So let me, I will use my power to ask a question to each of you. So as Taiyu mentioned, as Jennifer mentioned, also the education of the young talents in the digital or audiovisual communication. My question is, did you recognize there's some differences when you educate different people? Actually, you are working here in China, you know Mandarin, but you are able to communicate with people interculturally. But did you recognize the differences when people come from different countries? We learn how to make audiovisual products. Do they have some special, cultural difference or different talents? Could you please share with us? Jennifer?
Actually, that's a funny question. So from a young age, I always wanted to be like a filmmaker and capture people's like smiles and little stories with my little small camera. And now like we've all evolved and we have phones that can capture these amazing moments. And yeah, I think that coming from America, we have a unique perspective of focusing on the individual when we're representing somebody in a story. And it usually comes from, you'll see flashes of their life or their upbringing. Whereas in Chinese filmmaking, a lot of it is on the group and the group struggle and finding your place within the group. And so from a storytelling perspective, I would say that that is the biggest difference that I've seen. Also, it just in a visual understanding, in Chinese media, they're always putting those little like, looks like sticky notes or like stickers of like, or blowing up somebody's head outside of like a proportion that it should be. And it makes it like all cute and funny and mixing in cartoon elements into these normal videos. And in Western countries, it's a little bit more like serious with the format and like deep when you're portraying somebody. And so I think that's the biggest differences that I've seen in audiovisual products through different countries so far.
Right. Thank you, Jennifer. I think you really referred to a very classical theory in intercultural communication studies, actually called the difference between collective culture and individualistic culture. But also, from also American intercultural communication scholar, he mentioned we have the difference between the high context culture, low context culture. But maybe this kind of difference will also be reproduced in the digital communication. So thank you. My next question goes to our two Chinese participants. 我想问一下两位这个专业的媒体从业者。
Now I have a question for the two professionals in media communication. Mr. Hong Xiao is a professional media worker, both in traditional media and new media. And I also want to know your experiences and views about the challenges and obstacles we need to overcome in promoting the audio-visual media. Actually, if we look at it from the perspective of foreigners, Shaolin Kung Fu and gourmet or good food are always the main subjects, sometimes excessively. Actually, in addition to the travel stories, we need to do more to communicate the traditional values of China. I'm from Changsha. We have a Yuelu school, and it has a plaque with the word honoring truth on it. When I was doing programs, I take the foreign singers to Yuelu school. I ask them, do you know what does that mean? 实事求是 or honoring the truth. I will explain what they mean to them. And then they realized that so early on, you Chinese already had such a practical philosophy. So I think what we need to do more is really to promote our cultural values and philosophies. So the food, the costumes, the beautiful clothes, and the travel destinations are also the good subjects. But what we need to do is to use them as a way for them to better understand China and understand the Chinese culture. Thank you. Yes, when we think about cross-cultural communication, I think we have passed the first stage, and in the next stage, we need to ensure that we can focus more on value communication and cultural communication. Mr. Ding, what is your view? I think a lot of foreign friends probably when they understand the Chinese culture, do not have a good basis to begin with, by which I mean that probably they have never been to China and they are facing some obstacles to cross-cultural communication with China. So I think what we need to do describe our life stories better so that the foreign audience will better understand the Chinese philosophy better in an easy manner. For example, loyalty and being reasonable, so we can tell the traditional Chinese stories in a new way. Yes, I think you as a university student and a creator of new media content, you have realized your great responsibility.
As the Secretary General of the Alumni Talent Alliance, also from Chaoyang District. I'm also from Chaoyang District. Maybe you have a bigger network than me about how foreigners, their life here in Beijing. So did you recognize some special roles played by those foreign talents or the young foreign people, how they play the role in bridging the Chinese culture with the international audience? How different foreigners can not tell a China story to the international audience, but at least to mediate the Chinese culture to the international community. Could you please share with us your insight on this?
I think there's we can further categorize like foreigners into smaller groups. So for example, the first category I would think of is entrepreneurs. There's a lot of foreign entrepreneurs in China, and they play a very important role in building bridges between China and overseas. And their cultural understanding usually leads not only better relationship between those two countries, but also creating economic value. So I think that's one of the biggest roles that foreign entrepreneurs plays. And also some of the entrepreneurs, they play an active role in developing of these technologies as well. So with them, what we try to talk and communicate is about not what we can do, what kind of technologies we have. We don't need to have a very passive mentality to developing technologies, but much more a very proactive approach with a very better philosophy of like why we are developing these technologies, what are the purpose of it. So I think one of the things that foreign entrepreneurs can bring to the table is bringing like, the moralities and the principles and the philosophy of why we're developing better audio and video tools that can create better communication and bridges between two countries. The other aspects of it is definitely education aspect. I think, like, we live in a global village, and I think we need much more better cultural understanding and cultural empathy. So I think foreigners being in here, not only they're able to understand China's culture, but at the same time try to find common grounds between China and other countries, and they can share their cultural history and their cultural attributes with China as well. And through that, I think we will realize that there's a lot of more commonalities. Like we had an event last time and we were discussing about common future for mankind. And it was very funny because when we were talking with it, I was talking to a Persian friend, and there's a very famous poet, his name is Sadi. And Sadi in 1275 AD wrote a poem about said all the family, like all the humankind are a family, right? So when you realize that when we have this cluster of foreign talents from different countries, there's much more commonalities in our history, in our culture, and even our Jajaguan and our values. That's the other aspect of it. And the third one is about, I think it's about the future. It's about consensus. I think having a global community of foreigners in Beijing and China and their role and what they hope to is also try to talk about what kind of future we want to have, how we want to communicate going forward in future. For example, now we have access to new tools. AI, that's like, that also very impacts the audio with deepfakes and everything, right? So having foreigners trying to understand their perspective on how we should develop, how we should communicate in the age of digitalization, AI in future. So that's, I think, the most important thing is still going back to the communication, building mutual understanding, and at the same time using these understanding to leverage and to create businesses, to create better bridges, to create empathy channels to accelerate much, I would say, information and promote friendship between countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wahid. I think this is really, really important. First of all, I think even foreigners here is a big group of people, but they are divided in different professions, different industries, and they have different roles to play to mediate the relationship between China and the world. And I really appreciate the concept that you mentioned, the community with shared future for mankind, which is brand, creation by the Chinese leadership, and also our vision about how we can build a new global village. Actually, yes, I did also same kind of research. We found not only this concept translated from Chinese to the English, but also there's some equivalence, like in Africa, like in the Central Asia or in other places in the world. They have the similar vision about how we can be more connected. We share more common, understanding about each other. So I hope that will come true in the future, as you imagined. My last question goes to Ta Yue. I recognize you are a documentary producer. On the audiovisual platform, we have multi-model, products. The documentary was one of the most international audiovisual products in the previous decades. So did you recognize how we can make a better documentary to be more suitable for those mobile, smart, intelligent, audiovisual platform?
Right. That's kind of like a huge question to compress down, but I think it still goes back to the main concept behind why I think a documentary piece is so important, because it is the only type of motion picture where you can be entertained, be informed, and inspired at the same time. So there has to be an emotional side to any documentary. It's not this flashy, like action-packed, cars jumping, everything. For someone to watch a documentary and learn anything, they need to be emotionally invested in that. So I think if the filmmaker or, whoever's making this video, if you have that at the back of your mind to try to create an emotional connection, and there are ways around this, there's strategies around this. Once you do that, I feel it might be easier to connect to a global audience. And one of the ways that I do that, for example, is I worked on a documentary with the Tsinghua in Jiangxi province, and it was talking about the zero COVID policy at the time. And the emotional angle that I personally went for while directing that piece was from a place of understanding. People do not necessarily, they understood why this had to be done at the time, So telling the story from that perspective will help anyone who's watching that to sort of, okay, get an emotional sense of where these people are in the film, and you're able to go with them on that journey. So I think if more emotional connection is encouraged in those films, rather than just making a product, because I feel like maybe that's the downside of just making a film. There's no point in churning out a film if it does not do anything emotionally. So if we can encourage that emotional connection, I think we will have better films. I really think so.
Thank you, Taoyu. I think this is a great point. Documentary, I'm just a regular, research on this topic. I'm not really expert, but I know documentary products is more serious than other audiovisual content. But it seems like from your point of view, I think we need to insert more emotional elements in the documentary producer, especially in the audiovisual communication, environment. So thank you. Since we have only 3 or 4 minutes left, as organizers told me before when I'm preparing for today's moderation, can I just invite all of you just one by one to summarize your point on this session's topic? So very quickly, maybe 1 sentence or 2 sentences before we go. Right. Start from Wahid.
I think at the end of the day, audio and video are all tools, and I think we have to use tools in a very responsible way, in a very good way. I think one of the things then that brings our responsibility and our function. I think every one of us who are sitting at this stage is a good friend of mine says like, 我们是文化的放大器. It's like we are the magnifiers of culture, and when we have access to these tools, we have to try to create value of disproportionate magnitude, but in a good way. But we're also thinking about, as we said, like the context behind it, the purpose of this, and what we want to achieve, and how this message can help more people. So I do hope we use these tools to magnify better values. Thank you.
谢谢马赫。有请非常简要的1、2句话来总结一下你们。
Thank you, Mr. Ding.
觉得就可能通过今天这个座谈会，对这个视听传播或者对这个国际传播有了更深入的理解。当然在场的各位嘉宾，他们也在通过自己的方式，在视听传播、在文化传播方面做自己的努力。无论我旁边这位老师，还有咱们的制片人，都在为这个文化的一个传播做出自己的努力，文化的交流做自己的努力。
谢谢丁同学，希望未来看到更多你生产的。
Thank you. We look forward to hearing your products.
We have so many more channels to communicate these days, and we are able to access information at an unprecedented rate. Our connection with other people, our tangible emotional connection is getting less and less. And so I think what thing is really important is that we need to be so careful about the kind of content that we're producing going forward and the kind of image that we're putting out into the world, because we want it to be a whole one. We want to be understood on a deeper and more emotional level instead of just surface level, which is a lot of what we get in social media or a lot of audiovisual products today. And so I'm so happy to be here on stage with people who are putting out these really incredible films or TV programs that are getting to show people around the world that we are all just people and we're not so different after all.
Thank you, Jennifer. The digital technology really promote the connectivity, but at the same time create a lot of disconnectivity. So I hope we can make more efforts to bridge each other. 洪笑先生，请简要的总结。
我觉得人与人之间的交流是。
Sincerity is important to people-to-people communication, as long as you express your ideas from the bottom of your heart. As long as you want to use your heart to create products, people and audiences will feel your sincerity.
So I think for me, the final thing I would like to say is that we as a people, we should embrace the concept of global responsibility. All of these guys have given incredible pointers, so I don't want to repeat that, but we also need to be careful just as much as we're making things. We need to be careful to make sure that, you're fact checking whatever it is that you're putting out there. You're making sure that you are not misleading people so that we don't actually aggravate what the problem is. And once we do that, I think we're going to be fine.
Thank you, Taoyue, for your concluding remarks on this very important point that we want to make before we go. I think based on our participants sharing about their practical experiences and also the understanding about the future audiovisual communication, we really want to focus in the future to work together to provide more true stories about each other, and also to be empathic about each other, and also to be responsible about the new global communication, which is defined by audiovisual communication. So thank you so much for joining our first roundtable discussion. Thank you everybody for listening us, and due to the time limit, we have no time, to have the Q&A between the participant and our audience, but I hope you can have more opportunity to discuss with our expert practitioners, after this session. So thank you so much. Please join me to give applause to our participants. Thank you.